Toastmaster Madhav, over to you.
Hello, everyone. A very good morning to everyone. So, I am SSA of today's meeting. So, good morning, fellow Toastmaster and dear guest. I would like to welcome all of you to 313 meeting of Speakers 10 Toastmaster Club. My name is Toastmaster Madhav, and I will be the surgeon at arms in today's meeting. To officially start the meeting, I want to remind everyone that this meeting will be recorded. Some part of the meeting may also be used for the promotional material later. In order to have a smooth meeting, here are some ground rules that we will follow during the course of our meeting. First, please put yourself on mute when you are not speaking. Second, do not interrupt while someone is speaking. If you were to move during the meeting, please turn off your camera. Third, please be mindful from addressing sex, religion, and politics during the meeting. Fourth, be attentive throughout the meeting. Support and support and encourage the fellow speakers by turning on your camera and warm smiles and claps. Use Zoom reaction button to express yourself during the meeting. As you are aware, everyone has a mission in life. Similarly, Toastmaster has a mission. Our Toastmaster mission is to provide mutually supportive environment so that each member of our club can develop their leadership and communication skills, which will help to boost their self-confidence and personal growth. Now, every meeting has a theme, and today's theme is very interesting: treasure of lives. First, we need to understand what is the treasure. What is the meaning of the treasure? So, treasure means something of great worth or value. So, who or what do you think is treasure of your life? You have to, brainstorm about this very interesting topic. Now, I am handing over to our Toastmaster Tanmay. Tanmay is a business. I will introduce Tanmay. Tanmay is a business analyst at Flipkart. He hails from the state often known as the heart of India or Tiger State, Madhya Pradesh. He likes to travel and visit new places. Over to you, Tanmay.
Thank you, Toastmaster Madhav, for a wonderful good morning. A good morning to all of you. How you are doing today? This is the moment when you can unmute yourself without any intervention from the SA or any of the role takers from the meeting.
It's great. It's a great Tanmay.
All right. So hope every one of you is excited for our today's special session with Toastmaster Sridhar. But before we dive into our today's session, let me officially open this meeting number 313 at Speakers and Toastmaster Club with bang of this man as a gavel. And meeting number 313 is in session. Treasures of our lives. Today's theme talks about the different things that we treasure in our life. And we are not talking about the pirate's treasure, which you might have seen in the Pirates of the Caribbean, where Jack Sparrow was chasing it. But we are talking about the real things that actually matter to us. So while we go into the depths of our today's theme, let me first talk about the Toastmasters International. How many of you are attending a Toastmasters meeting for the first time? Can you please raise your hand or use your reaction buttons? Right. Then I guess, there are a couple of folks who are new to it. So let me just give you a brief intro about Toastmasters International. Toastmasters International is an organization dedicated towards improving our public speaking and leadership skills and is spread across the world. Currently, it is present in 100 plus countries with thousands of members who are all following the path laid down by a gentleman, Mr. Ralph C. Smedley in 1924, who started the Toastmasters journey with the first charter meeting at YMCA, California. And today, here we are at Speakers and Toastmasters, who have completed 10 years of this speakers journey with multiple Toastmasters who have been a part of this journey with the speakers then, and they are doing phenomenal in their everyday life, personal and professional. And today we are here at this chapter of Toastmasters, the Speakers and Toastmasters, to take you on this journey with our wonderful team of role takers, our executive committee, and most importantly, our members. Toastmasters Speakers Den was established in 2012 with the first meeting in September 2012, and we just celebrated our decade anniversary in the last September. Today, the meeting is 313. For the maths nerd, you may seem that it's a palindrome number. For others, you can see it's a 3 centuries of meetings. And to give you the best experience, today's meeting is divided into 2 parts. Today's team mod would be myself, the president of Speakers Den, Tanmay Srivastava. And today's meeting is divided into 2 parts, which is not the flow of a regular meeting. While a regular meeting is divided into 3 parts of prepared speeches, table topics, and evaluation, today's meeting is in 2 parts of having a dedicated education session by none other than Toastmaster Sridhar, followed by a wonderful table topic session to use our learnings from the education session. So while we go into it, let me first welcome our general evaluator for today's meeting. Our general evaluator is a management consultant by profession, and he has been associated with Speakers and Toastmaster for so long that now his name is anonymous to Speakers Den because the initials are all the same, Sankhya De. And with this, let me invite our general evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Sankhya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Tanmay, and a very, very good morning to dear guests and our lovely Toastmasters. So today, my role as a general evaluator, I'll be taking the evaluation of the entire meeting from the start to the end, what went well, what could have been improved, and to support me, I have a team of 3 musketeers, popularly known as the tag team. And let me introduce the tag team over there. So the first one is the timer, Toastmaster Velavan. Toastmaster Velavan, may I invite you to please speak on the objective of the timer?
Thank you, Toastmaster Shankya. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As a timer, I will time the table topics, speakers, formal speeches, and evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time that they have left, using the green, yellow, and red cards, which denotes the specific times remaining. Table topic speakers should limit their time remarks no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will raise the green card. At 1 minute 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. At 2 minutes, I will raise the red card. And most other speeches should be 5 to 7 minutes in length. At 5 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 6 minutes, I will raise the yellow card. And at 7 minutes, I will raise the red card. An individual evaluation should be between 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 2 minutes 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. And at 3 minutes, I will raise the red card. Thank you. Over to you, Shanki.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Velavan. So just one thing, the timing which has been mentioned, we usually have that all the timings in our regular meetings. But since we do not have a speech and an evaluation today, so we'll skip on that and we will follow only that table topic, which is towards the end of the session. And now let me invite our R counter for the day, Toastmaster Venkatesh, to speak on the objective of the R counter.
My name is Venkatesh Kumar. Today I have the responsibility of a counter. The purpose of the a counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or pause fillers by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words including and, well, what, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sounds including and er. I will also note when a speaker repeats a words or phrases such as I. This means at the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used this expression. Over to Toastmaster Sankhya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Venkatesh. And now the last, our speaker on the tag team, that the grammarian, is Toastmaster Ashish. May I request Toastmaster Ashish to please speak on the objective of the grammarian?
Yeah, thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Sankhya. Hi everyone, good morning. I am the grammarian for today's meeting. We all know what is the importance of grammar, and if you don't use proper grammar, we are not able to convey the proper information. So grammar is the most important thing while you are telling something. So today's word of the day is pinnacle, which means the most successful point. And to give an example, he had reached the pinnacle of his career. And if you want the synonyms for pinnacle is zenith, acme, all these things. I request everyone to use word of the day. And when someone is using word of the day, we can give a thumbs up or you can give a clapping emoji. And I will also take a note down of the proper uses and where we can improve ourselves to make to move our speech one step ahead. That is all from my side. Over to you, G.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ashish. And so with my team of the Three Musketeers, the tag team, I'll be coming back towards the end of the meeting to give our overall report on the entire meeting. And now to carry forward with the rest of the meeting and to achieve the pinnacle of success of the meeting, let me invite our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Tanmay.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sankhya, for introducing the tag team and going over the roles of the team today and to present the report at the end of the meeting. Now, going back towards the theme of today's meeting, the treasures of our lives. Can anyone tell me, unmute yourself, feel free to unmute yourself and or raise your hand, that what do you consider as a treasure of your life? Right. Please feel free to unmute because I'm not able to see all of you on the screen. So, yes, Mansi, you are inaudible. Can you please speak a little louder?
So, treasure of my life is my health.
And why do you think so?
The famous saying, health is wealth, and I've had experiences where you're not able to perform well if you're not feeling well mentally as well as physically.
Definitely. Health is wealth, and there is no, I think that is the true treasure of our life. Anyone else who would like to go next? But what do you consider as a treasure of your life?
I would like to
Yes,
go
Maninder.
ahead.
Yeah, Tanmay, thank you. Yes, life itself is a treasure. I suppose the fact that we are alive and doing fairly well, at least, that itself is a treasure for us, and to make the best of it and to reach the pinnacle of our careers would be, I think, the best way to go.
Definitely, Maninder. Making the best of what is available to us is also a treasure of life, because anything that you can utilize becomes a treasure. As someone says, like one person's trash could be another person's treasure. So there is no definite meaning of it. And what do you consider as treasure? Anyone else who would like to go next and give us a different meaning to it? Toastmaster Madhav.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Tanmay. So according to me, treasure of your life, for me, it is my family and my thought process. So these two things are my treasure of my life, Tanmay.
Certainly, because sometimes your treasure is not something which can be put into a chest of gold coins, and you are all constantly worried about whether someone will steal it. Sometimes it's just a person. Sometimes it's more than one person, your family, and sometimes it could be your pet as well. Is everyone able to hear me? Because I see on the chat that Vinod is not able to hear us.
We can hear you, Tanmay.
All right, Vinod, can you please try reconnecting your audio?
Yeah, and I think it's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to give them? Yes, Dr. Pasha.
To me, our treasure is our experiences of life, our treasure, our memories. Like experiences means our memories are our treasures.
Definitely, because memories are a treasured collection of our past that we keep with ourselves. While we look back, while we sit on a hot sunny day, for example today, and we think about we see something on or maybe a reel on a social media platform which instead reminds us of our college days, we are looking at our most treasured memories. Maybe you order a food and it turns out to be really good, and it reminds you of the food that you used to have at your home when your mother cooked it for you. If you look at the movie Ratatouille, where the critic he ate one bite of that meal cooked by Remy, and he was suddenly taken aback into his treasured memories. That was a treasure for him. That food was a treasure. And as many of the movies and series around the world in multiple languages states, sometimes the best treasure is the friendship that we make all along on our journey of life. So yes, that is also a treasure. And today, Speakers Den is also presenting a treasure to you. A treasure trove of experience to be presented by an experienced speaker, the co-founder and CEO of Helixon and Jokes Apart, a member of steering committee of HRD, Department of Biotech, Ministry of Science and Technology, who has won district championship in 2022 at ISC. He was the first ever district champion of District 120, not just in ISC, but also in evaluation in 2014 at District 82. And he has delivered more than 150 plus educational sessions. For this, please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Sridhar to Speakers Den. Toastmaster Sridhar.
Thank you.
Toastmaster Sridhar, a quick AV check, audio video. Can you please wave your hand and say it's a nice sunny day?
It's a nice sunny day.
It's a nice sunny day.
It's a nice sunny
All
day.
right. We can hear you perfectly. Now the online podium is over to you.
Toastmaster,
Sure.
I've just spotlighted Toastmaster Sridhar. So
Thank you,
you're on the
Toastmaster.
stage.
Perfect.
So which one would you want me to go first? Can I go with the TT
You
first?
decide how do you want to unlock this treasure to us.
So that itself is like a impromptu. I'm sure you're able to see the screen, right?
Yes.
I'll go with the table topic session first, and I'm sure people will be able to appreciate this title called Blank Mind. And normally, as per the table topics contest convention, you actually are supposed to tell the name of the person and the title of the speech, and the title of the speech and the name of the person. So, as per this convention, last time when I gave this education session and I had given it to the TMOD who actually was introducing me. So because it was a table topic session, he chose to actually introduce the session also in the same way, but it ended up being very different, and let me tell you how it was. So he said, Sridhar Ranganathan, blank mind, Sridhar Ranganathan. So, and everybody started laughing. I didn't realize it till that time that a title like this can backfire. But I still wanted to go ahead with it because that's what table topics is all about. Thank you very much once again, the entire Speaker Den's team, the committee for having me here and calling me for a double session of both table topics and evaluation. I hope to complete the first one by 20 minutes, and I'll take another 20 minutes for the evaluation session, and then maybe have another 15 minutes or so for question and answers. If you really look at the speaking possibilities and what we actually perform, I thought it should be good if we divide that into 4 categories like this. One is there are certain areas where we know I can speak, and there are certain areas where we know I can't speak. And on the y-axis, we have I succeed and I don't succeed. So logically, I have divided the axis into X and Y with I know I can speak, I know I can't speak, I succeed and I don't succeed. Normally, when we know we can speak and we succeed, we become very happy. So that happens quite regularly. And when we know I can't speak and then we succeed, we wonder how it happens. And that also I'm sure some of us would have experienced. And I'll talk about it, which category of people are this. And then when we know we can't speak and we don't succeed, we are convinced, saying that, yeah, this is something which I expected not to be able to perform, but I didn't succeed. And then it is okay. But the problem happens when we are in the category of the box or in the quadrant, where we know we can speak and we don't succeed. And that is when we don't even know what kind of an emotion to bring there, right? And if you have to look at various contests and contestants in this particular 2x2 grid, I thought if you look at the I know I can speak and I succeed is general evaluation contest, because Moment you go and tell that something about body language, vocal variety, stage management, content delivery, 3 minutes you will complete and you will be able to at least do something and you would have succeeded. There are very few chances for you to fail. And if you look at, I know I can't speak and I don't succeed, again in that category of either international speech contest or humorous speech, where we know that probably many a times we don't actually have the habit or we don't have the practice of making a good humorous speech, and we know we can't speak and hence we don't succeed, it's fine. And there is a small category of people, I generally find them to be in the audience, who actually, they know they can't speak, but they keep succeeding. In fact, they keep giving all the pointers for the speech, and that happens from a non-contestant who are probably in the audience or so. But the most important thing which I'm going to address in the first session today is the area where I know I can speak and I don't succeed. And that is, to me, the table topics contest. And I'm sure many of us will agree, or many of you will agree with me. And for speaking for 1 hour on a topic is much easier than speaking for 1 minute. Somebody told this to me and I fully acknowledge, agree, authenticate experientially when it comes to table topics. But the problem in table topics is when the previous speaker is speaking, I know I can speak on that topic, everything. And when the next speaker is speaking, I know I can speak on the topic. But when I go on stage, it becomes blank mind. I don't know why. Similarly, when I actually am ready to go up to the stage, before going up on stage, maybe the topic which was given to someone else, before going up on stage, I know I can speak everything about the topic. I know many things that I can speak on. After coming down from the stage, I know many things I can speak on this topic. But when I'm on stage, I don't know, it actually becomes a blank mind. And that I'm sure you will be able to reflect, recognize this particular problem of called blank mind. So the idea is to see how do we conquer this thing called blank mind, which is actually not a blank mind, because I know everything about it when the other person is speaking. And that's why in table topics, even when the club activities happen, we realize that when others are speaking, we know that these points can easily come. But when we go up on stage, it doesn't happen. So even happens in a club level also. So I want to see how we can conquer this blank mind. And many people ask me, you're going and taking an education session, should we really prepare for a table topics contest? Why should there be a preparation for table topics contest? I know it is a very paradoxical question. Why should there be a preparation for table topics contest? But in my opinion, it really helps to be prepared for a table topics contest. And let's see how it could be useful. Before I talk about the way that we can manage how the table topics session can be handled, I want to produce some live scenarios, which I'm sure you will be able to reflect. Suppose if there is an important guest coming home with an advance notice, I want to give a gift to them. Now, in that case, what will happen? There is a lot of thinking that goes behind. I take time to go and look for a good gift. I know I have given the best and measure the satisfaction whether the person liked the gift or not. Actually, suppose if the guest lands at home all of a sudden, and then I want to give a gift. Now, what are the possible ways that we can actually make this happen? Recycle some of the gifts that we had already received, and we can give it. Look for an old gift which we bought earlier, and then we can give them. Look for anything that is available that looks good to give, and then measure the satisfaction. What was available, I managed it, and I measured the satisfaction, whether they liked it or not in giving that. That's life scenario one. Another life scenario, and many people will be able to relate. I am aware of a cockroach in a particular room, in a dark room, for example. I get ready to attack. I look for the right weapon to tackle. I look for it and attack it. That's pretty straightforward. I don't say it's easy, but at least it's pretty straightforward. Now, after I get into the room, I see a cockroach all of a sudden. Now, what happens? I look for what comes in my hand, right? And sometimes it could be paper, it could be sandals, it could be remote control, it could be a broomstick, or even use the leg for that matter. Somehow, with whatever I have to manage the cockroach out. So I'm aware that enemy is hiding to attack. I prepare knowing the strength of the enemy, go with the right weapon like cannon, LMG, etc., and then attack the confront and attack. Suppose I see an enemy all of a sudden. Look for what comes in hand, could be rifle, pistol, a bayonet, sling. Nothing is available, at least to try. I try to fight with my hands actually. These are life scenarios. Now, when it comes to facing the scenarios of public speaking, I go in general, I go prepared with the best tool I know I have, knowing very well what is the challenge to encounter, and I encounter the challenge and reach out to what I have. So when it comes to speech scenarios, in a prepared speech, I go prepared with the best speech I have after knowing my objective, what my objective is. And when it comes to impromptu, I encounter the challenge and reach out to what I have. Correct? This is what happens in a table topic session. You quickly reach out in your mind to what you have and present. Whereas in a prepared speech, you know what you're going to speak and then go prepared and speak. Now, if that is the case, how do you say that it helps to go prepared for a table topics speech when it is impromptu, when you have to pick up from what is there in the mind? And that's where I feel that my experience actually has taught me a few things, and I thought I should share with you. How to go prepared. Now, there are many ways of doing it. Step one, or the first option that I have to call it, go fully prepared with a good speech and attempt it for any topic that's given, right? That is, I've done it quite a few times, and I'm sure some of us would have tried that as well. But I'm reminded of the cow story. Apparently, this is a story which I'm sure some of you would have heard. There is a teacher who told a student saying that tomorrow I'm going to ask you to write a composition on something. Then there's one guy who went and spoke, prepared everything about the cow. The cow has 4 legs, 2 horns, 1 tail, it eats grass, it gives milk and all that. Now, when he went to the class the next day, the topic which was given was a tree. He didn't know what to do. So he wrote everything saying that the cow has 4 legs, the cow has a tail, the cow 2 horns, it eats grass, it gives milk. And this cow was tied to the tree. So that is how he actually completed the composition. So I do this many a times. Suppose if I encounter something, just to see what happens, I go to the next club meeting, whatever is the table topic that is given, and I just go and give that and try and see how I can link it. And Toastmasters is such a wonderful fraternity. Even if you speak absolutely nothing related, they will give you an evaluation which is probably for more than the time that we spoke on the table topics, and saying that, no, it was nice that you were able to look at the audience and speak. You were able to stand up and look at the entire crowd. All that they will say. And finally, we have one recommendation. Next time when you speak something related to the topic, they will say. So that way, Toastmasters is a good place for us to try anything. So when I tried this, I actually ended up feeling like a buffalo, because every time I tried a table topic, going with particular topic and speak whatever was given, this is how I ended up. So then how do I go prepared? So now, then I move to the next option, saying that go fully prepared with a good tool and attempt it for any topic that's given. So what could be a tool that we can actually try and use? But when I try to look at a tool, there is not one tool, there are many tools which were given to me. People said that you can look at before or after. The topic is given, you can see, you can look at an option of before, after, uncover the advantages, disadvantages, for or against, figure out the problem and provide a solution, aim to compare and contrast, linking present, past, future, one alternate viewpoint and all that, and the social point if you want. Now, the problem is that when our mind goes so blank, how is it possible for me to actually pull out a topic like this? And again, I ended up being buffalo, feeling like a buffalo, that it's not possible for me to do. So how do I pick up that one tool out of this at that particular moment was always $1 million question. So some of the content topics that I actually want to put here, which was given in the table topics contest when I woke up this morning, what goes around comes around, the best way to predict, begin with the end, if you don't stand for something, all this. If you really look at these titles, now which tool to pick up at that particular point, I really didn't know. So again, I ended up having a blank mind and not perform well. Now, then the question again came saying that, okay, if going with one topic is not going to work, going with one tool is not going to work, how to go prepared? And that is when I came up this idea of how to reach out, right? Which I spoke about the scenarios that we have in our life. We reach out to what extent we are prepared with. So if I have to look at the tools required to reach out, first and foremost, I think we should understand we should keep eyes and ears open to look at what's happening. Pen and paper or an instrument to record. I always have a pen and paper with me wherever I go. And then the third point is discipline to use item 2. Now, this is a very simple thing many people would have told, and I don't want to actually dwell too much on it, but this is very important. Now, some of the topics which I'm sure which you will be able to relate. Now, what I do is I have written many things that happened in my day-to-day life. I did a Google search on Mount Everest for something, and then a normal interaction with the doctor, so on and so forth. You can see it here. Now, every time I got a topic like this, I had an experience like this, I use it in the table topics and see how the response is, and then I was able to build it. So I have a few more like this. So why I'm putting all this is I'm sure this kind of experience everyone will have in our life. And if you look at my point of what I said, if you have the discipline to write down what you have, you will be able to pick up all this in your mind. Now, how to actually use all this? When a topic is given, I'll come again to it. I have some small tips which I actually experienced. I'll give this to you. So if you look at these topics, these things happen to every one of us in our day-to-day life. And these are not difficult for us to remember. So everybody can actually note it down and do it. So all these things are there. So there could be some other items which happen, especially in a table topic. There could be some spontaneous observation that you can make. For example, if you take today's session, you can talk about what the TMOD spoke. You can talk about what the presidential address was. You can talk about what the Sergeant at Arms spoke. You can spoke about what some guests like Maninder Singh spoke. All those things you can actually observe and see how you can relate to all those things. So what happened just before the contest began, some on-the-spot observation of the contest and some unique general stories you can look at. You know, some examples could be APJ Abdul Kalam, Sachin Tendulkar, Dhoni, Mahatma Gandhi, Obama, and all these things are some general stories that you can keep. Now, again, you may ask me saying that, okay, all this is fine, life experiences are fine. Now, how is it possible for me to get that at that particular point of time when I'm going up on stage, my mind is going blank? Now, the question of personal stories, if you notice, when compared to the other gyan or other generic philosophy that we can give, personal stories are easy and unique because it is unique to yourself. Nobody will know whether you are right or wrong, and it is an actual episode that has happened. So it actually requires less amount of thinking. And it would have characters also in that. For example, if Maninder Singh, when he was talking about saying that I actually was traveling to the meeting, and that's when I realized it is actually an online meeting. It is an episode where he has the meeting in the episode, and he also has his own character saying that how my expression was and all that. And it doesn't require thinking. Technically, he is able to bring it out promptly and say that this is what had happened. And only he knows exactly what had happened. So the dimension of the story that is given is known only to the person who's speaking. And if you are able to break that time to think, and that helps you manage the first minute very well. So if he is able to tell saying that I actually started for the meeting, and then when I realized that this is an online meeting and hence I had to stop somewhere to attend, to participate in this meeting, gives you a good full 1 minute for you to speak. And at that time, the pressure is off relatively because you are not thinking about what has to be spoken. Now, after you have done your 1 minute well, you get that crucial few minutes for thinking of the second minute and conclusion. A few seconds that you will get, and that should be good enough for us to pick it up and conclude. That is what I felt is very important. Now, then at that point, your mind will also allow you, because you have already spoken for a minute, your mind is released of the tension to some extent because you know that you have actually spoken about an episode, and then you get that opportunity to pick up any tool that you have already thought about, whether it's before, after, or advantages, disadvantages, go the opposite and all that. It's possible for you to pick up the right tool. But even if you don't pick up the right tool, it is okay. But as long as you have given an episode, and then you are able to conclude with something that can happen in the second minute. And then you can always uncover humor in the episode. That's the next level, but we don't have to get into that right away. But you will be able to uncover humor if you are able to have the crucial seconds that you're releasing. So what is very important is, then you know your tools can actually become fabulous tools for you. Just to put the same thing. Right? Now, what is very important is, how do you then ask this question saying that, how do I pick up the right episode? Okay, you're saying that it's all good. How do I pick up the right episode? This is where this point will come in very handy. Identify and associate a character for stories. What comes to the mind when I think of the keyword? For example, if the topic has attitude, which person or which episode comes to your mind when you think of that one particular word, attitude, in that entire script that is given? If there is love and affection, could it be your mother? It could be, if it is learning or special moments, could it be your children? If there is something inspirational, could it be your friend? If there is a light encounter which is possible, could it be friend again? If it is business related, could it be customer? It could be travel. It could be anything that can happen. So, for example, yesterday there was one of the contests which was happening in my Chennai home club. It is said life is easy. Okay, so when I talk about easy, what comes to my mind? Or when I think about life, what comes to my mind? So that could be, that keyword could probably then relate. If it is easy, is there a friend who actually takes everything easy? Then go ahead and talk about that friend who takes everything easy. Right? That could be a good way to start, and then you'll be able to do. Is practice important? Is practice practically possible? Because in a table topics, how do you practice? So it is easy for us to say every day stand in front of a mirror, ask someone to give a topic and then talk in front of a mirror. It doesn't work that way. I've tried that for a few days. It never works. But instead, what we can do is practically possible practices. Suppose if you take, instead of having one topic every day, same topic every day and uncover new ideas. For example, yesterday I came across this topic called life is easy. Now, when you say life is easy, today I actually, if I talk about my friend who takes life as easy, tomorrow take this topic and then think about what else will I actually be able to practice, or what other item or event or episode or a person, which person can I bring in if I'm given the same topic. Now, what you are doing is you are trying to expand your thinking beyond what you actually are forced to think when a topic is given. It's like building the muscle of speaking, and that way you're actually trying to pick up more choices when that critical seconds are happening. So content judging criteria, again, if I have to talk about it, actually speaks about content 55 marks, delivery as 30 marks, and then language has around 15 marks. So the appropriateness and correctness has only 15, whereas the speech development effectiveness and the physical and voice delivery has 30 marks. So 85% of the marks you will be able to cover if you're able to pick up something and give a good example about what you're doing. So the most important step here is, once you actually go prepared and reach out to some speeches and then pick up the right tool, then it can really make a huge difference. And that will help you. How do you blank your mind before it blanks you out actually? So instead of just picking up any topic, instead of reaching out to some tool, if you can reverse the whole thing, saying that if I can find a way to blank my mind before it blanks out by taking one word of that topic, and which word, that word I can relate to a person or an event, and that event or the person, if it is personal from my life, I don't need to have the thinking. It gives the comfort of speaking for that 1 minute. And after that 1 minute or during that 1 minute, I'll get that critical time to release that thinking. And during those few seconds, if you're able to come up with any tool, it is possible for you to conclude. And that thereby you'll be able to make a great speech. And that is how I feel that you can, if you can blank the mind, instead of mind blanking you, will be able to successfully conquer the table topic session. That's what I have on table topic. I'll come to any questions after I finish my evaluation as well. I'm 20 minutes done. Okay, so 30, 90, 30, and if there is anybody who consumes alcohol, please don't look at this quantity as a quantity of alcohol. It is basically to talk about something related to evaluation, but it is intoxicating, definitely evaluation. Now, again, the question comes, should I prepare for an evaluation contest as well, right? Because evaluation is, and especially which is in the quadrant where I know I can speak and I can succeed. Why should I prepare? And I'm not supposed to be preparing for evaluation, But instead, I have to just go and look at the test speaker and find out the points, and I have to go and give. Why should I need a preparation? Is a question which will always come in people's mind. Now, when it comes to contest, let's accept the fact that we want to win. And if we have to win, we need to be different. And that's why we want to see how we can go prepared. Again, in this, the judging criteria, analytical quality has 40 marks, recommendation has 30 marks, technique has 15 marks, and summation is another 15. So thereby this brings out total 100. And every aspect is very important here. And summation again has 15. And many a times in a contest, what happens, the difference between winner and the loser would not be a wide margin. It would just be 1 or 2 points. At that time, if you are missing out on summation, there is a possibility that you lose out huge amount of marks on that. So it's important that we keep all the 4 things very, very clearly in our mind. Now, face your time. If your contest is basically given for a particular time, which is 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, and after 3.5 minutes, you'll be disqualified. I normally divide that 30 seconds clearly for my introduction, 90 seconds for the actual evaluation, and another 30 seconds for summation. And maybe I will share my evaluation contest 2014 winning video to the president, and maybe he can share that with others as to how I will clearly mark the first 30 seconds for a good introduction. I marked the last 30 seconds for summation, and in between I had to use the time for getting into the details of evaluation as such. Now, when it comes to introduction, choose an appropriate statement. It can be generic or specific. Again, it may be a good idea for us to have a few good statements which could be useful. Again, in evaluation, you get around 5 minutes to prepare after you listen to the speech, even if you're the first speaker. So you can see if any of those things will really be relevant and could be useful, you can actually make use of it. If it is a speech on achieving dreams, how would you want to start with? I did that. I started with the quote on dreams, and then I was able to get in. And then there was another speaker who actually spoke about a girlfriend who loves samosa. That was the test speaker's speech, which was given. So I went very specific into it. When I started, I told him saying that your speech itself was like a samosa. It actually has a lot of spicy ingredients. It had enough salt and all that. And there was something which you can actually do to make the samosa look better. And I went into it. So people were able to relate to it very well. So that's why I'm saying it is more specific instead of being generic. And then impact of the speech also, you can actually talk about it. In the final evaluation that I did, I talked about relatability, realization and all that. And I said, we'll see where the speech lies. And sometimes you can say, okay, some speeches make me feel tick, some speeches give us the kick or something like that. You can actually see how the impact of the speech you can start within the first 30 seconds, which can give a very powerful introduction when you're doing it. And it's good to practice a few sexy introduction statements. Keep it ready with it. It's not wrong. But only thing is it has to be very relevant. Now, when it comes to evaluation, typically you will find if there are 10 contestants, most of them would be using these things very common, right? Body language, vocal variety, opening body conclusion. You appeared very confident, nervous, body language, should prepare more, stage usage, eye contact, personal story, message was present, message was absent. All these things are generally given. 9, if not 9, at least 8 contestants will go with any of these points. And then the competition will happen obviously between those commonly uttered points. And if you are able to stand out by doing something very different, you will stand out to win. That's how I feel. So how can we be different when we can go beyond the obvious and leave out on all these points and look at something very different? Now that's where I feel that you should make the listener think, whether it is the audience or the test speaker or the judge. What all can I look for differently? So I'm going to give you a few points. Again, I will be passing on, if you require, the PPT to the president, and it can be circulated. So I'm happy to share this material with you. So what all can I look for in the content? Can I look for, instead of just looking at a content and delivery, can I look for a problem and solution which was there in the speech? Can I look for logic and emotions? Can I look for anything that was compare and contrast? Was the speaker able to compare and contrast? Was there contradicting arguments which were there? Instead of looking at challenging the speaker, but can you look at contradicting arguments if there were any? For example, if they say that the sun rises in the west, you say whether it is right for us to say that or not. Setting the speech, how the speech was set, whether they were able to. In one of the division level speeches, what I did was, I said, you set the speech so well, you brought in 4 characters when you were introducing the speaker, when you were introducing the speech, but towards the end, 2 of those characters were not used at all. So if you either drop those 2 characters, or try and have something where you'll be able to milk all the 4 people, then the speech impact would be better. So I'm just giving an example of saying that how can you relate the setting of the speech that was given to the rest of the speech as such. Characterization, real versus hypothetical. You can say that your speech actually in hypothetical situation may look very appropriate, but when it comes to real life, is it really possible? So how can you make your speech a little more impactful by bringing in some real life examples against the hypothetical example that you gave? So those things can actually be good recommendations. So past versus present, all these things you can see that you go beyond the obvious, right? And that makes the person, whether it's a judge or the audience, think very differently. Again, you should see, I'm happy because my mentor was able to get me that kind of a thing. I had brought everything out completely different compared to anybody else who would have given the routine things in that particular evaluation that day. Now, what all can you look for in the content further? Can you see if the speaker was an authority, was there an authenticity, sincerity, memorability, relatability, adaptability, implementation scope. Okay, the speech is good, whether it is possible for them to implement or not. Time allotted to various parts of the speech. Again, one of the contests I went and told, saying that you actually spoke about the story for almost 4.5 minutes out of 7 minutes. The story is not the hero of the speech, the message is the hero. So if you can actually shorten the story part, but dwell more on the message part and then build more on the realization and how it can be useful for people, then it can be good. So in my recommendation, I would say that you should look at how much time are you allocating to various parts of the speech. And that people were quite impressed because it was going beyond the obvious. How are the examples relevant, which I had covered? How are the characters milk, which I spoke about? How is the story loop closed? You speak about something in the beginning, how did you close it? Did you come back and close? Whatever you started, you asked a question, did you come back and close the question in the end? Instead of just telling whether the question was good or not, can you come back and say, how was this question closed in the end? That could be a good option. What is the speaker's presence in the speech? Can you actually tell the speaker saying that, bring out whether you were a victim of that speech, of that incident, or you were a witness in that incident, or you were neither a victim nor a witness, but you were an onlooker who actually happened to hear about what happened, and hence you gave this story as interpretation. The emotions could be very different. So all these things you can bring out, which can make your story very different, or the evaluation very different. Now, what can we look for in the delivery? Now, instead of looking at vocal variety, what is it in vocal variety? Can you look at the rate of speech? Can you look at the volume and pitch? In one of the speech contests, evaluation contest, I went and told them, saying that you actually have a very monotonous way of delivering. Will you be able to look at 3 types of rate of speech? Only the rate of speech, forget about volume, pitch and all that. Just the rate of speech. When you're talking about an emotional episode, try and see how you're actually involving yourselves. The rate of speech becomes better. When you're giving a message, try and see how you can drop the rate of speech. Can you give that pause and say, honesty is the best policy? Can you bring it down? And then when you actually are conversing with them, converse at the actual speed. So you get 3 different bandwidth with 3 different levels of rate of speech. Then that can really make a huge difference. So these are things which normally you will not get it. People may say vocal variety, but not what in vocal variety you would not know. What in body language? Gestures, can I talk about gestures? Appropriate gestures can be used. Posture and audience focus. So you can even tell them saying that you don't need to really turn fully around for you to actually build in that character. You don't need to move from one level to the other level. Even a small change, and with the way you look at the audience this side and with the way you look at the audience this side, you will be able to bring in the characters very clearly. So can you look at these things? You may have different ideas. I'm just giving what all I started using. And what all can you look for the point from the point of audience, right? Okay, you saw content, you saw delivery. What all from the point of audience? Was there something which was what is in it for me? Again, in the final evaluation, I had used this point. What's in it for me? Why should I listen to you? And what will go right if I do what you say, and what will go wrong if I don't do it? How has this benefited you? Is it for a heterogeneous group or is it for a homogeneous group? All those things you can actually bring. Is it catering to different type of audience, visual, auditory, kinesthetics? Or what are the challenges I'll encounter while doing what I say? So in one of the contests, I actually had a student coming and speaking, saying that I've been asked to study IIT for all the last 5 years. I've been preparing for IIT. Now I joined IIT, but I'm not interested. I'm not happy about it at all. Parents should not push. Then I said, saying that, are you creating dissonance in certain part of the audience? Okay, students may agree with you. What if there is a parent? They will say, how can a kid decide? So why do you want to cause dissonance? How can you send the same message, put it in such a way that even if there are parents, they will also be able to appreciate and agree? So can you bring those components as well? So you bring in the audience point. So suddenly, from what it was looking at a vocal variety, body language, story, questions and all that, you're getting into completely different things in a speech, which you can look at, say, some 50 items or 60 items, which not many people can usually look at. And that will make the judges, make the audience think very differently and listen to you very differently. And sometimes go the opposite way. Like, questions, how can it be different? So many people say that it is a brilliant way for you to ask questions. But if I am an evaluator, I'll go and tell the speaker saying that don't ask questions. Why? Because questions sometimes, if you're not able to predict the answer, what will happen? Then your speech can go disarray. So instead, if you want to use question, have a warm up with the audience and then ask the question. So you are actually making the speaker think differently, and hence the judges will think different. Stage movement. Many people, invariably, all evaluators will come and saying that you should use the stage better. Whereas I go and tell in some cases saying that for the speech, you not moving from the stage from where you stood was the hallmark of your speech, was a masterpiece. You don't need to move. And you did that exactly well. So which means 9 others would have come and told saying that you didn't move. Whereas I'm coming and telling you actually didn't move, and that was a commendation, not a recommendation. So that really makes people think differently. More points, no problem. They will take what they want, because generally some speakers, many of the evaluators will say, saying that you give 10 points. Many people don't understand. You should actually give 1 point. Whereas I go and tell them saying that you gave 10 points and that's excellent. And in an audience which is heterogeneous, each one will pick up 1 point and go. So that was a great thing that you did. So here what I'm doing is try to make the judge think differently, right? Leave questions unanswered and all that. And recommendations become a very important point of your analysis. And don't feel guilty or hesitant, because many a times when we are peaking on evaluation, suddenly we will see people dropping when they're feeling guilty about giving recommendation. Or recommendation in Toastmasters, in evaluation, is a very critical component of evaluation. So we should not hesitate in giving any recommendation at all. Because if you're able to move from level 1 to level 2 when you're giving recommendation, then you can close on a high, and that will make your speech phenomenally impactful. But if you drop down, then for you to even get back to that level is not going to be easy. So it's important that you need to keep this in mind. Never feel guilty of giving your recommendation. You are the authority who has been called to evaluate the speech and give recommendations. And it is important you give recommendation. Hence, what you are telling is truth. You are actually not faking. So you give the recommendation with supreme confidence. That's very important. Do not drop energy. Recommendations are as important as the strong points or the commendation that you are giving. Now, as I told you, summation is extremely important. Plan summation is a key component of the presentation. It can make a huge impact. It can be the difference between winning and losing. And do not rush it up for want of time. Many people will say, I would like to close this saying this, blah, blah, blah. So have a very clear 30 seconds out of your evaluation for a summation. And summation is not actually repeating the whole thing. Summation is to give a sarams of what you actually spoke in the 90 seconds that you have taken between the introduction and the summation. So it can be brief. It need not be used with the same words. You can use different words also, but it is okay. So some other points, it is good. Many people come and ask me, is it good to use acronym? While it is good, but at the same time, you need to express caution. It has to be very small, preferably 3 letters. Use acronyms, but ensure that it doesn't dilute the core objective that you have. Sometimes the acronym should not become such a big hero that your evaluation goes dampened. That should not happen. Now, some past examples I have seen, ICE is one, ABC, BUN, and all that people have given. So that's easy, but definitely not biryani. You don't have to have such a long acronym like biryani, and then you will end up getting into a problem. So that's not advisable. Do not overload with all observation. We are not here to transform the speaker. We are only here to evaluate and win. So pick up only the highs and lows, 2 positive points and 1 to 2 recommendations should be fine. It's okay to show you know what you know, many more things by quickly rattling it out. People ask them this question. Suppose if I'm going and giving everything beyond obvious, now how do I make the judges should not think that I missed out on the obvious things like vocal variety, story, content, grammar, and all that. So if you again go and look at my contest winning evaluation, so I go and tell them saying that you had excellent points like vocal variety, body language, stage usage, grammar, vocabulary, all that. But I want to go beyond the obvious and look at how a thinking of the speaker is. So if you really feel, or if you're feeling nervous as to whether I will get a wrong impression in people's mind, it's good for you to say, I know you have various good things, routinely what people are observed, but I want to go beyond. So that's a possible way of approaching it. Less but the most effective makes your evaluation unique, and that's very important. And these are the points that I have when it comes to evaluation. So now I'm done with both presentations. Now it's 39 minutes since I started. So I have 20 minutes to ask for questions. Please feel free. I can stop sharing.
Please raise your hands for asking any questions or put it in the chat box. Yes, Toastmaster Mansi.
So my question is more to when we are in offline mode, and you mentioned that while as a speaker, I have too many thoughts, and if it is first thought which comes to my mind, and I want to build a story on it, how to reduce or minimize the time within your brain? I mean, how to articulate your thoughts that way?
Yeah.
You
So
gave an
if you,
yeah.
sorry, please.
Yeah, you gave an example that there was a speaker who had 4 characters and he used only some of them, 3, I guess, or 2. So how do we articulate our thoughts that way?
Yeah. So see, that's where table topics also require practice. Now, again, like what evaluation also requires practice. Now, how instead of you doing one evaluation ad hoc every time, if you have seen a speech today, what are the 2 points which you will bring out today, whether it is problem solution, compare contrast, past, present, future, all those points, or would I look at some characterization? So today I've done. Tomorrow, pick up the same speech and think what are the 2 different points that I can look at. So in that, you can say whether the characterization was milked properly or not. So once you know what are the 50 things that you are going to look at in an evaluation, you have 5 minutes after the speech is over to pick up some pointers which you can give. Even if you are the first speaker, if you are the second or third speaker, you have that much more time. But even if you're the first speaker, you have 5 minutes to actually note down your points. Then you can say that, okay, during the speech, I found that the characters were not milked properly. Maybe it's good for me to bring out that point. So your muscle memory will actually bring out and say that these are the 10, 20 points that I can look at. And in those, this stands out prominently.
One more question as an evaluator I had for evaluation part.
Yeah.
So for evaluator, I have also given such points to use this stage, but you're the first one I'm hearing that not to move and use this stage is a good recommendation.
Correct. Yeah.
But yeah,
Correct.
but we are in both the scenarios. So in my camera, I mean, the frame is only my camera when I am in online scenario. So there you have a limited access to showcase your own body gestures and your vocal variety. While when you are in offline, I have given such recommendations because now the viewer or the evaluator can see the whole stage. I mean, can you help me how to blend both and give an effective evaluation?
Right. Now, even in an online contest, if you observe any contest, no, most of the contestants will say that, okay, now it's an online mode, but you can still use your gestures, you can move a little bit here, you can move front and back, and all those inputs will come. Because in Toastmasters, these are seen as a routine or a convention to talk about how much ever is possible, you can start making use of gestures and all that. Now, I am telling, make the other person think differently. You say, suppose if you are going and saying, for this particular speech, which actually had a good amount of emotions and good amount of logic, you not moving made us stay gripped to you completely. And you don't need to move. And many a times, just with your eyes and with changing vocal tones, you'll be able to make an impact. And the speaker will feel positive, right? Because they don't have to go and keep saying that every time I need to keep moving. I'm a stoic person, for example. I don't need to move. And as I told you, even with just 45 degrees change, you'll be able to make a difference. And those things you can bring out, how the speech can be impactful, even in an online mode. Of course, in an offline mode, you have a lot many dynamic points to give. But even in this limited thing, 90% of the speakers are likely to bring in these points, saying that, okay, you can move back and forth. You can actually move to this corner and that corner. You still had scope. You can use your hands like this. Whereas you can choose to go the opposite and still make an impact. Of course, it has to be relevant. It need not be force-fit. But if it's relevant, it can make the speaker think very different of himself.
Thank you, sir.
Toastmaster Venkatesh, please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. I have a question. During table topic session, like somebody has given me the topic that have you read any recent books? And I don't have the habit of reading books. Then how I can tackle this situation?
Yes. So now, reading books, what emotion does it bring to you? Why don't you read books?
I have given examples, sir. I read sometimes, sir.
Okay, so if you decide not to read books, why are you not reading books?
Because it feels me like boring, not much interesting. Yes,
how do you gain knowledge otherwise?
Through reading newspapers.
Super. So now, for example, moment you talk about reading books, you can think of why is that you are not able to do, because you can say that I received one book. One of my friends or in one of the club meetings, because I did well, they gave me a book. I also sincerely tried reading that book. Opened the first page, within 10 lines, I went out to sleep. Next day, I decided that I should actually not sit down also to sleep. I actually was standing and I opened the book. You will not believe. Even standing, I went out to sleep. That is what books can actually do to me. So you actually have talked about an episode that has happened to you. Now you know that you can then get into some other statement saying that then you people will ask me saying that how is that I'm able to manage to gain knowledge? For me, books is not the only way. Newspaper, somehow I'm able to read newspaper. Maybe something to do current affairs is more attractive than a boring way of narrative written in this one. So audio books. When I interact with people, I get a lot. So if you ask me about reading books, I have a completely different view. So that's how you build the topic and conclude. See, in a table topic, it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily go with what the topic is given. You can go against it also. You can go completely different in your conclusion. So it's fine.
Thank you, sir.
Sridhar, I have a question. In case, say, in the topic, a word has been used which I have no idea what it is all about. How do I come up with saying something on that?
Yeah. See, again, there is no 100% perfect answer. Even Mr. Smedley would not have had if you really had asked him what happens. It happened to me also once. In a district contest, I was given a topic which was longer. The pronunciation was not to the hearing easy of my this one capability. And then it was not an easy topic also, something related to diamond and all that. I said many a times in life, you are left with a situation where you don't know what you have to speak on. At that time, you don't know whether you are a precious diamond or you're a charcoal. It doesn't matter. It is not that moment which actually makes you successful or a failure. You have a very strong past that comes with you, and you have a phenomenally successful future which goes with you. And that can make you sure that, make sure that you can actually become a diamond one day, even if you're not one. So somewhere you pick up on one word, and what comes to your mind at that time, speak and develop, and then see how you can conclude. A situation which happened there, and then finally I closed again saying that it may be true that I did not get to understand the whole thing fully well today, but I still am happy that I'm able to still communicate with what I could grasp, and that's what we all have to do in life. Every time we'll not be getting what we want in life, and I came second in that contest actually.
So Sridhar, in terms of the contest, when such scenarios happens, and of course, we try to make it in a different way so that we do not stop or do not blank stare. Will it also impact the content segment of the judging criteria? Because this is something which I couldn't speak, but I am trying to put it in some other way. But maybe the judges, because there will be multiple judges, so some few judges may also know that, okay, this is something which the speaker is supposed to speak, but we are not. I mean, we are trying to.
See, judging is always very subjective, right? Because people come, in fact, in one of the international speech contests at the district level in Mumbai, Radhika Maheshwaran was speaking. I had a judge who was sitting next to me. He had good for every contestant, he will put either 66666 or 8888. Then asked him, why are you doing this? Then he said, totaling becomes easy for me, right? So there are people who come with different perspective to even judging. They are also human beings like you and me. Now, but one thing what I have noticed in Toastmasters or when we are going for contests, people like genuinity. If you're trying to fake, saying that, okay, I knew everything and I'm trying to boast myself, even in a table topics, if you're honest, there is a possibility that many judges will accept that this guy is honest because they also would have felt the same thing. What, yeah, this topic is not so good. I have not been able to understand. I don't know how people speak. That's the mindset they're actually thinking and sitting. When I'm going to tell them saying that genuinely I admit that I am not understood, but I am attempting, there's a possibility that you have higher chances of winning instead of completely getting crashed out. And again, these come out of experiences, right? And you get run out even in the final thing at 99 also, but doesn't stop you playing further. It's another experience, and next time when you run better. That's how I see the whole thing.
Thanks to that.
Folks, any other questions, please come forward. Guests and the Toastmasters, please, you can put your questions in the chat as well. All right. Meanwhile, I have a question, Toastmaster Sridhar.
Yeah.
What to do if you are given a topic which you cannot grasp in a table topic contest?
Yeah, so that's where I told you that when you can't grasp, even if you are able to pick up one word out of it, confess, saying that this topic bring it to life scenarios, bring to personal examples where you have many situations where you're not able to grasp and didn't know what to do. It could be about son's education, it could be about your office things. Relate something, and then say that there could be many scenarios in life which actually put us in a very difficult situation without knowing what to do. but at that time, it's good for us to take help. Whereas in a table topic thing, you can't even take help because the rules are so. But how do you still perform, complete what you're supposed to be completing? And you may not win, but you may still actually would have crossed the other side and have the experience of accomplishing what you took the task yourself. So such things, it's good for you to actually feel very confident of what you're speaking, but without faking.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Please.
So most of the time, like when they give a table topic, so some thoughts are running in my mind, but I'm not able to express. So how do I overcome this?
So those thoughts, would it be philosophical, or those thoughts are about event or episodes?
It could be anything. Like something is
Okay.
running in my mind, but I'm not able to express.
Right. So generally, a personal event or somebody who is in your life, when you talk about those things, it is not likely to stop your flow so much. You may find grammatical errors, or you may probably find words actually changing its position, but you'll be able to still communicate what happens because it's a personal story and you don't need to think about it. Now, suppose if you're talking about how do you want to give your opinion about it, that's when you will start in your own internal mind, you'll start judging, saying that whether I'm giving the right pointers or not, whether people will accept it or not. Suppose if I tell you that today morning I had a problem with my son when I tried to wake him up to go to the coding class, he's not waking up and he literally misbehaved with me. And that is something which you would not know whether it's right or wrong also. I only know. And hence there is no stopping of what happens. So the best way always to actually beat that problem of not getting what you want is to bring a story, bring an episode that comes to your mind immediately.
We have Sudhir raising his hand. Sudhir, please go ahead. Sudhir, you are on mute.
Thank you so much, TMC. Thank you so much. It's been really very impressive for all of us to learn so much from you. Thank you so much. I have not a regular question, but a general question. I've been with TM for the last 4 years, I think, since 2019. I know it's not relevant for this session at all, but how many years have you been in Toastmasters?
I have been in Toastmasters since 2006, so it's 17th year now.
Believe me, we've learned a lot from you. Thank you so much.
Sudhir, Toastmaster Maninder.
Yeah, Sudhir, to add to my friend, I just wanted to know how you came about. So, what I gather from your speech today is that you're a very good communicator and you have been giving speeches for a long time now. So, how did you came to this realization that you have to come on to this path, and how did you go about improving your skills? And a bit about your life story is what I'm curious about.
Okay, so that's a long one, but I will still tell you, I jokingly tell people saying that when you have nobody either at home or at office to listen to, you'll find a place where people will listen to without having any inhibition. So that's when I found Toastmasters. But jokes apart, I always felt that, especially when I was in the sales and marketing field after I finished my graduation, I felt 90% of what you do don't get communicated properly. And especially when you're growing in your career, when I became the area manager, regional manager, then I became marketing manager. Before I could become the sales and marketing director and become managing director of a company, I felt that many a times, if you're able to communicate the story very well, the impact that you create in an organization is manifolds higher than what you otherwise create. And even in a meeting in an organization where you are very well known, I worked for Allergan for 21 years. Even after 20 years in a meeting, if you're not able to speak yourself the way you have to communicate, then the interpretation of what work you have done is left to them. So why would you leave that? Hence, I decided to use Toastmasters. And when I went and spoke, I realized that whatever I spoke in the initial stages were not accepted. But then I realized that if I speak what the audience wants, the acceptance is better. Then I started implementing at workplace as well. So that way it became a mutually successful journey. And if you plot my Toastmaster success and if you plot my career graph, there is a huge alignment. And hence I decided to continue, pursue seriously Toastmasters, and I keep contesting, participating in education sessions every single week.
I can resonate with that, Sridhar. Thank you so much.
Hi, Sridhar.
Hi.
So my question is like there are many situations while speaking in the table topics or the like the normal speeches which we have. So at that point of time, what happened? Like we forgot the words or the exact vocabulary which is not coming to our mouth. So how to handle that situation? Because if we are not using that word, then that story will not be able to explain the complete story, and it will be like in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
So how to handle it?
In fact, see, you don't have to struggle too much. See, people generally go with the emotions that you carry in any story that you're giving. Today, even if I use a completely different word, which may not really mean what I'm saying, you actually are with me in the journey of that emotion. And then you will understand, even if I miss a couple of words, that what I'm trying to indicate. And the second point is, even if the point is not communicated properly, it is okay. You can always go back and re-communicate in the next 30 seconds or 45 seconds, saying that when I said this and this is what it is, you can clarify. The audience will be okay to accept that, because audience wants an imperfectionist in you. They are not inviting a speaker or a person who actually comes from an evolved status. So I have noticed that from the audience side, they want an imperfectionist like them. And when I come and tell them saying that I am also like you, I have faults and I have corrected, and because of that learning, I'm better and you also learn it, they'll be very happy. So even if by mistake, you actually utter a different word which you didn't mean, and then you realize when you were speaking, go back and correct it, saying that you forget that word, that was not the right word. And this is the word which actually suits very well. And that word makes all the difference. The audience will respect and applaud you for that. So never get into the stress of using the right word. Vocabulary is only a tool, but the emotions are very important. If you're not faking, if it comes from your heart, if you're speaking from a genuine source of your thinking, and if you don't want to actually show off too much, people will go with whatever words you use. And even if you correct, it's okay.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sridhar.
Yeah, hi Sridhar.
Hi.
I have a question here, like the example which you gave about your corporate journey, right? And the Toastmaster journey. You align both these ways, and then you are a better person, or maybe you are so even the same situation I'm facing, like, whenever I have to deal with my boss, like, somewhere around I felt that, oh, what I have communicated, whatever I have worked with my boss, somewhere around I feel that, okay, I missed this part, and I started, overthinking on that part. Okay, I missed this part, I should have told him in a better way, right? But I missed that opportunity. For that reason, I also joined the Toastmaster, to align the same journey. But here, every day is happening the same thing with me, right? I want to understand from you, how did you overcome those scenarios at your initial days, what you are today? That will give me a kind of motivation here to, go ahead further in my
Excellent question. See, I look at it, Toastmasters, as a holistic solution for my professional life to become better. Now, you may look at only speaking contest as a core entity in Toastmasters, but to me, a Sergeant at Arms role, a timer role, a grammarian role, an accounter role, all these things actually teach us a lot of leadership philosophies. Imagine if a Sergeant at Arms, he has to find 26 different things about the president, goodness in the president. He will go out of the way to reach out to first his friends, then family members, and then he will come and say to the president, will tell me something which the club doesn't know about you, all those things. So much of preparation goes to do his job, and make the president feel happy about that introduction. I keep telling people, if only we practice a fraction of that in our professional life, right? Suppose if you have to go and talk to our boss, if I have to talk to my team member, how much effort do we take to go and know about that person? Grammarian role, for example, you even if you know that the grammar is wrong, you don't bluntly tell person saying that no, Toastmaster Sridhar spoke stupid English today. No, you can't say that. You will come and say there was one Toastmaster who actually mentioned this. Instead of that, this can be used. How many times do we use this kind of a polite language in our professional life? If you are able to get this, you actually become a better leader, and people look for you for your advice, look for your evaluation, and they take it very seriously. So I strongly believe that every single activity that you do in Toastmasters is a great learning platform for us. And if you have taken it now as so serious, I'm telling you, a few years down the line, you will salute yourself for taking up this very seriously.
Thank you, Sridhar, for giving such a nice answer. Thank you.
Next, can I have Sucheta?
Thank you for the opportunity. Hi, Sridhar. My question is, sometimes we have been given a topic which brings us certain memories which we are struggling with. So, and that time, how do we, I don't know, like maybe that becomes a lesson later on, but at that moment, how do I represent it?
Yeah. So now, if you, whichever habit you have, for example, what are the good life lessons or encounters that are worth talking with public on public platform? Just as a simple exercise, write it down in a piece of paper. If you have the habit of writing, or if you have the habit of noting down in your notepad on your mobile, or if you actually are a person who don't gently use those two, but then in your mind, send your brain on finding out 20 different episodes that make your life very interesting. Just like that. I have the habit of writing, so I actually have a pad here, for example. I write everything that I have. I take one word paper and I write all what I have. And those things I actually keep, these things come into your mind because our mind can be cheated easily. Otherwise, it will cheat you. So if you tell your mind saying that I've got boss 40 episodes to pick up, your mind will listen to you and then pick up the right one. And that happens by practice. So every now and then, just as a preparation for you to become a better public speaker, look at all life incidents from your young age. From the age of 3 that you remember, write down everything. Even as a bullet point, it is fine. And from there, you will be able to develop, because it's like a muscle. It's like gymnasium. The more you strengthen your muscle, it will help you. That's how it is.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Next, can I have Maninder?
Yeah, either a short one. So sometimes when you are trying to get your message across, you tend to use so many words and not put your message very succinctly and concisely. So what is the problem that happens? And any pointers that we can put forth our point and message very succinctly and concisely.
It's an excellent question, Maninder, because I am a person who used to be verbose. I can't, sometimes I keep repeating the same thing because somewhere I get a feeling saying that the other person would not understand if I'm not speaking more, and I end up speaking the same thing 3-4 times. Even now you would have seen I would have repeated twice, right? And I started following a principle saying that in any conversation, I will see how I can speak only 10% and make the other person speak 90%. Right? So yeah, even if there is a question that's coming up, I'll ask a counter question to make the other person speak better. So then I get that thinking time, and thereafter I will actually make it as concise as possible. And the other person feels so happy that this guy is taking interest to understand the question better, and in the process I get more time to think better and then answer better.
True.
That's how I basically follow. It's an evolution. It's taken many years, but I'm slowly progressing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sridhar, I have a question here.
Please.
Like, what happens with everyone? I believe it happens with everyone. Whenever you have to say anything, you elaborate as much as you can, right? But the speaker who is good in his area, like the best speaker, or who is, they use very few words to express their feeling, right? Rather than have an elaborative one page thing, right? How
Correct.
can we, inbuilt or inculcate in my life so that with few words I can express more, right? Did you
Correct.
understand my question? I'm not able to.
No. I got
Yeah.
your question. I have had
Yeah.
similar problem
So
actually.
yeah. So this is what I'm encountering in my life. Whenever I start writing something, I take one page and the meaning is nothing, right? So I want to use good words, make a good sentence, and then come up with a good meaning, and that way we can, be a better speaker. So just want to hear from you, because
No,
you have a
a very good point, because as I told to Maninder, I am a person who is verbose. I can't give for example, my mentor will come and say, prepare a speech and come. I would have written 980 words in that speech and it would not still be communicating the meaning. Now, my mentor, Ian Faria, actually told me once, tomorrow I am giving you a speech slot. I want you to give the speech in 2.5 minutes. He told me the same 980 words, which otherwise I would have taken minimum 8 minutes because I speak at 120 to 130 words per minute. He said, without dropping the essence of the speech, I want you to complete the speech in 2.5 minutes. I'll not give you even a second more, he told me. But mind you, I could do it next day. And then he told me, again, I was dreading that he comes with something more adventurous. He said, I want you to give the same speech in 1 minute next day. And 3 days continuously. It was actually an academic kind of a thing which he wants. And then he gave me an opportunity to speak. The next day, 1 minute, I prepared the speech for 1 minute and I went and gave. The impact was the same. Sridhar, the same person who had a 980 words, with 150 words, you've been able to communicate. So what is important is your emotion and the message that you are giving to the audience. It's not about the points that you're actually bringing and giving. And he says, audience are not fools. You're thinking that you're educating them. They know you much better than what you are. They'll be able to judge you much better. So even when you're using body language, don't go and tell them, drink water. They know water has to be drunk like this only. You just tell them, if you want to use a body language, substitute or supplement it. Don't try to actually go and act and show. It is not enacting. So then I went and told, saying that pick up that water. Right? And that you are actually communicating. Drink it peacefully. And everybody takes the way they want, right? So these are things which I evolved over a period of time. So every time you actually have a longer speech, go and give it in table topics. And see how you become very successful.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, can we have Mansi? She has been raising her hand for quite long.
I have a question related to two topics. I'll just quote examples. One was the role play. So you mentioned narrow topics and types of topics we should. I was thrown up with a situation which was a role play of husband-wife. And then another was a Bollywood actor where I had no clue about the actor. Who is he? Or so how do you generally cope up with such situations or tackle?
You should immediately say, do you know a new Bollywood actress called Mansi Mathur? Start with that. And then say somebody who actually has never got exposed to acting and then have been pushed into Bollywood today. And that Bollywood star will become a superstar one day. Wait and watch for that. And she knows not just singing. She can actually communicate with her own eyes. Many people around me have told that Mansi Mathur has beautiful eyes. Right? You can keep developing that. You're actually, and nobody is going to come and tell, how can you tell Mansi Mathur like that? Because you can talk about yourself the way you want, right? And I was not a confident individual when I was in school. I would have never, with whatever achieved in school, become something like a Bollywood star. But the last 5 years, ever since I had this person coming in my life, he has given me something or she has given me something which has made me feel like a Bollywood star. Now my personality has changed. My hairstyle is different. My smile has become very different. And I carry myself very differently, giving complex to some of the best stars in Bollywood. Please watch out, Mansi Mathur. Right? So basically, you actually, and nobody can actually challenge. In fact, people will stand up and applaud. I like your confidence and all that.
All right, thank you. The time is 12:40, and while like it has been a very interesting session that we almost lost track of time, I believe it is for us to move on towards the next session. So with this, can I request everyone to unmute themselves and give a thunderous round of applause for Toastmaster Sridhar for conducting such a wonderful session. And let us also take one photo. So may I request everyone, and Toastmaster Mansi, you are taking that? All right, may I request everyone?
I'll do that. I have done some of the candidates. This time, let's just pose and give a good broad smile.
So let's put our reactions, put your heart or your any reactions, and let's take a photo. Are everyone ready? In 1, 2, he's going to ask us questions instead of getting back to us. Toastmaster Lalita, over to you.
Thank you, Tanmay, for that introduction. So good morning, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. So my name is Toastmaster Lalita, and I'll be the table topic master in today's meeting. But before starting the meeting, let me tell you what table topic session really means. Table topic session is kind of an impromptu speaking session where the table topic master would be giving you a topic. You get 5 to 10 seconds of time to think, and then you have to speak for a minimum of 1 minute and for a maximum of 2 minutes. A timer will share the screen. The moment you cross 1 minute, he's going to change the Zoom background to green. And when it turns to 1 minute 30 seconds, then it will change to yellow. And when it turns to 2 minutes, that goes to red. And you have another 30 seconds to wrap up your speech. So let's start the session. Would I like to volunteer first? Okay. Can I request Toastmaster Sridhar?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I was praying that there is another person called Sridhar to bail me out. Okay.
Okay. So I'll be giving you the toughest topic so that we will learn how to speak. So what is one loss that you took in your life that eventually turned out to be a win?
In the year 1996, when I lost my job for the first ever time, I did not till that time know what is the value of unemployment, because after I finished my college, the very next day, because of my NCC Connect, I got a job as a sales representative. I had meteoric rise. I was a hard worker, and I had one promotion after the other from 1990 to 96. But when this happened, when I had to lose my job and when I had to be unemployed for almost 3 months, that's when I really understood what it is to basically face failure as well. And I thought I'm not going to progress anymore in life. It actually was a big hit on my self-confidence. And I felt, if this has happened to me now, how am I going to become successful in life in future? But then suddenly I realized that this is a great learning for me. This failure is not a life failure. It is probably an episode of failure for me, which is making me much stronger. And then I was able to, when I took the next role in a different organization, I was able to understand what all mistakes I made there, and I should not be making those mistakes. And it gave a lot of confidence in managing situations much differently. So, and I felt very happy that it happened to me in the early stage of my life. Imagine if it had happened at 50 or 55, then I would have had more responsibilities in life, and that fall would have been more lethal. When it happened in the early stages of my life, it ended up just being bruises, and thereby I was able to really take a lot more learning out of it, and it made me wiser. And thereby I was able to have a much better career innings in the second time that I had, and thereafter life became really wonderful. So I strongly believe that a loss, when it happens to us, not just for me, but anybody, it is more a learning, and it is actually a part of a winning, which actually comes in our way with a deliberate or with a good intention.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing such a wonderful story. Next, would like to volunteer, Dr. Pasha.
Toastmaster Lalitha, there are many hand raised, so
Yeah,
you
I
can
think,
choose from there.
yeah, sure. So Dr. Pasha, I'll go with Dr. Pasha.
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Yes. So if you won $1 million in lottery, what is the biggest effect it would have on your life?
If I won $1 million in lottery,
What is
okay.
the biggest effect it would have on your life?
$1 million, $1 million I won, I get freely. So I don't want to get it freely. I don't want to impact the world from free money. So I wish I would I would not own in the first case. So I am the person I always prefer to get whatever I want to get with my efforts and my energy and my dedication and my hard work. So I prefer to be that kind of person because since childhood, throughout my life, I have grown with my efforts. I have come up in my life through my with own hard work. So whatever I got through my struggle and hardship and uh, pain. So that life, that actual I got through. Whatever I am today, the exact I am enjoying. Now I am enjoying the exact excitement and the thrill. The actual excitement in my life, whatever today it is there, it is all that days I earned through all that this thing, and the excitement thrill is the actual life to me is these two emotions are the main vehicles that are there with me now. It's because of that my journey. So I don't want to lose by winning that free money and impact. See that I forget all those money also. Where I will put all those money, I will put that to some social service, to other all those things. But most if I say I do, if I got that money, one thing what will happen instead of my life is improving, it will deteriorate my life, I tell think, because my sons, my family, see, I have three sons. So my three sons are, whatever they are learning, they are learning by observing my deeds and my actions and my activities. So one thing I observed that my children, my sons, our children don't learn what we teach. They learn what we do. So they are learning by what I am doing. Still, I am struggling to get through my life and learn something, do something extra works. So all those things. So I don't want to lose that impact on my children's by getting other person's money and doing some extra social work, becoming some what opening new more clinics. See, I have the intention to serve great many people through my service. I have been in this profession for 22 years. I am a famous cosmetic orofacial surgeon. People want me to open my clinics in different areas. Still, I am getting suggestions and this one demand, but I don't have money. I don't have money means then what should I get from winning lotteries? So I don't think that it will to serve many also. I I will win. I will earn through my own money, my own efforts. I will try to open my other branches with my own money. So, so still time is there. I am not able to see the this thing, ma'am. What I am not able to see the timer. Still
Okay.
time is there.
I think Dr.
No, I guess it's over.
Time is up.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
my video is not also okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Pasha.
so much for that topic, ma'am.
Thank you, Pasha. I totally agree. Like, hard work gives more happiness than winning $1 million in a lottery. So next, can we go ahead with Madhav? Would you like to volunteer?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. If you're president for a day, what would be your first action to the country?
Okay, that's a great topic. If I would be president, I will bring, the education system which we have in our country, that should be aligned with our spiritual journey as well, right? What is happening these days, or what I have encountered with my previous journey, I do have good education, but I was not having the spiritual journey, spiritual connect. The meditation, just I'm giving you for the sake of the time, the meditation which we do every day, I was not doing when I was child, right? Or when I was in class 10th or class 8 or class 9, right? So if I would have done meditation, if I would have done meditation that point of time, along with the journey of my education, I would have completely different person which I am today. So rather than practicing today, why not you should practice, way before what you are doing today, right? So I would be aligning education system with the spiritual journey. I'm not biased towards any kind of religion, but along with the spiritual connects. So this would be my first action. Now, how do we implement that system into our country's constitution or whatever the system it is? You have to build a connect with the authoritative person who are handling those education areas. I believe it could be a difficult task for the president, but definitely if you uh, constantly encouraging your authoritative, definitely they will try to implement in a very good way. And definitely for the next generation, it would be a very good opportunity for them to understand what is the meaning of spiritual, what is the meaning of education. It's not about earning money, it's about you're living a life to the fullest. So this is what I have, Lalita, for me. What I can say right now. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Lalita.
Thank you, Madhav, for sharing your thoughts on this. Next, can we go ahead with Jacob Matthew? Yeah. So do you think impromptu speaking should be taught in school?
Do I think impromptu speaking should be taught in school? Yes, definitely. From personal experience, back when I was in school, I used to be studying in ICSE school, so we had very good. I would brag, but just for the point of table topics, I would say that our English curriculum was really good. And I used to like to read stories and read and imagine myself in situations like that. The one thing that I was not made aware of was the fact that you go and speak in front of a lot of people, and then without preparation, how would it feel? So all these sort of ideas that you have in head, and then you have to face this mass amount of people. Some of you may know, some of you don't know, some of you look up to, and then you blank out. It has happened to me once, personal story. I was asked to speak about something in the school assembly, and I stood there without thinking of what I can say. And people who I knew will be made the butt of jokes for days to come. But at that point, I had no idea what to talk about, and I wasn't even aware of Toastmasters. So yes, so in that case, definitely, what would I say? There's something that should be taught. You should be able to talk, feel how you are in the front of all these people, articulate your emotions, and take it in stride. This is not something that people who are at the pinnacle of their Toastmasters speaking skills can execute. It's something that you should be taught young, so that you will be able to execute everything, and then you'll be able to have a lot of confidence that you can derive. So if you can teach something like this at the very young age of schools, you will be able to grow in confidence. You'll be able to avoid situations like that I've had, and also learn from it. So yeah, that's my take on the topic. Thank you, Toastmaster Levita, for that.
Thank you, Jacob. Like, I think even I totally agree. Like, children should be taught how to articulate their thoughts in school days itself, so that it increases their confidence. And next, can we go ahead with Maninder Singh?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's your take on never judge a book by its cover saying? What's your take on the never judge a book by its cover saying?
Yeah, got it, Leda. So it truly holds good, and it is it is the right statement to go by in our lives, to that is to never judge a book by its cover. what it really means is that you will not be able to uh, know what the truth is or what the facts are just by looking at the surface and not being receptive. So, first, in order to get to a conclusion in our minds so that we are able to take the next steps, it is very important for us to have as much information and as accurate information as possible. That will not come by just a glance at the surface. So let's just say to look at a person and by the height he has or the color of his skin or the nationality, the way he speaks or he or she speaks or the gender, uh, that is definitely it will not lead to us having a good taking a positive step, but only a negative step, because first of all the information is limited, and second of all we are judging the person based on the looks. All in all, God has created us in the same way. We think in the same manner, our minds, our bodies work in the same way. So we need to get to know each other based on the fact that we are the points, I mean the nature in which we are similar rather than the nature in which we are different. So maybe the environments that we are brought up in, or the times that we have seen, or the families, our cultures are different because of the geographies. But at the same time, there is a lot, much similar in all of us than there is difference. So that will also help us to, you know, grow together, have less conflicts, have more harmony, and be able to help each other a lot. Because only humans can help each other, not the birds or the animals. Only we are the species that can have compassion for each other. So, not judging a book by the cover will only aid us in helping ourselves by helping each other. So, that is where I'd like to conclude myself.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Mandir Singh, for sharing your thoughts. Toastmaster Tanmay, do we have time? Can I go ahead, or do you want me to?
Folks, would you be able to extend by 10 minutes since we started at 11:10? Would that be okay with all or most of you? Please show a thumbs up or any reaction. All right. Okay, I see that people are willing to stay till 11:10. So Toastmasters later, we can take another 5 minutes for the table topics, and then we can start the general evaluation section.
Okay,
Over to you.
Fine. So I'll just move on. Next is Kahira. I'm sorry, is it, how do you spell your name? Kahira?
It's Kyra.
Kyra, okay. So can you volunteer? Is it, can I give you the topic?
Sure.
Okay. So despite vast technological, economical, and innovative progress, why do you think depression is on the rise for the masses? Do you want me to repeat?
Could you give me another topic if you don't mind?
Okay, fine. So what's one hobby you have that allows you to relax?
I don't know whether you would consider this a hobby or not, but the best way that I relax is by watching Netflix. Like I'm sure a lot of other people in this group would, because otherwise my brain is always on like turbo level, always working, million thoughts going into my head at a particular time, including right now. So when I'm watching Netflix, then my brain can completely shut down and be in peace. So then maybe I could say that my hobby is finding a way to find peace for myself, where my brain is completely quiet and I'm just in the moment doing whatever I want to do. So watching Netflix is something that helps me attain that kind of peace that I'm looking for. Can't see the timer cards, but I'll just keep speaking.
Yeah,
So,
time. I think you can go
Okay.
ahead.
so
1 minute now.
okay, so yeah, I would say that my hobby is trying to find a way to find peace, and the best way that I do this is by watching Netflix. Over to you.
Thank you. So next is just looking out for Toastmaster Venkatesh.
Yes, Lalita.
Do you believe in luck?
Yeah. Sometimes I believe in luck, but sometimes I cannot. I see most of my friends, and I spent them with almost with them 4 to 5 years. Initial days, I watched them. They are not good as now, but in that during days they cannot take care of things very seriously, and they have failed many examinations, and during those phases of life, I think that they cannot do anything in that situations, but uh, but they have made many mistakes, and they have learned many things from them. But after gradual process of working, they have become very good. And I have seen many of friends getting recommended in various sections, like many are performing good in IITs, and many are recommended for SSB. And one of my colleagues here, Sovik, has also got recommended. And I think if you want to succeed in life, if your 98% is luck. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Lalita.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Venkatesh. Next, can we go ahead with Varun Kumar?
I can. But before I raised hand, I had seen Chetna raised her hand, so we can go ahead with her if time permits.
Once after you're done, I'll go with Chetana.
Okay, no worries.
Okay. So, is social media overall good or bad for society?
I am not entirely sure if social media is absolutely good or bad for the society, but I can absolutely tell about myself. Why? Because I am currently sitting in front of you all, attending this meeting all the way from Barcelona and Spain, because with the help of social media. If I wouldn't have found the meeting link on one of the social media sites, I would have never joined here. It is absolutely good for me. But every single time I try to find these kind of meeting links which make me productive, which make me get out of my comfort zone, wake up at around 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday. Apart from all these details, all I see is people eating pani puri, people eating dosa, people eating biryani and whatnot, which I absolutely don't get here in Spain. And you know what is the biggest problem? Heart. Heart tries to find those kind of foods here. And me being a chef, I cannot cook it. I don't have bloody pani puri masala here in Spain. If I come back to India, every other street, oh, it's a heaven. Social media is a boon and a bane. If you are looking to be productive, it is a bane for you. Why? Because you will see all the distracting stuff in the entire world. And if you are someone like me who just wants to see food pictures and eat food all time, it is a boon for me. Why? Because I happen to stumble across these beautiful meetings where I can get out of my comfort zone and still go ahead and learn something and grow myself. So, what do you think about it? Is it a boon or a bane for you, not for the society? Over to you, Toastmaster Lalita.
Thank you to Varun. So I do agree, every social media has its own advantages and disadvantages, but it is for us to take it, to use it or not to get affected by it badly. So it's up to us how we take it. So next, I'll go ahead with Chetana. If you had to write a book, what topic would you choose?
If I had to write a book, I would write a book about how to control your thoughts and your words. See, these are two important things with which we come across challenges in our daily lives. So here, if we control our thoughts, we will be more peaceful, and we would be able to handle situations better. Here, controlling thoughts in the sense, we have to try to keep our thoughts positive, at least, when at most of the times, whenever it is possible. There are circumstances where we will face ups and downs, and generally our mind goes to the negative part. But we have to control our thoughts and get it back to the positive and look at what is it that we can learn from that. So that is something I would like to mention in the book. Another thing is controlling your words. See, now there are some times, we tend to communicate something to the other person. And sometimes our communication can be misinterpreted, or it can be taken in a good sense. So it also depends on the other person. But it's always better to control our words so that it does not hurt the other person. And also we need to be a bit diplomatic in our communication most of the time when we are communicating, so that we are communicating what has to be communicated to the other person. At the same time, we are not unnecessarily hurting the other person. So according to me, if you conquer these two things, communicating controlling your thoughts and your words, you can achieve most of it in your corporate life and as well as your personal life. And you can be in harmony with the people around you and the society as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chetana. I do agree, like controlling your words and thoughts are really important for all of us. So I think in the interest of time, I'm just closing it. So over to you, Toastmaster Tanmay.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lalita, for conducting such a wonderful session. And without further delay, I would like to call upon our general evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Sankhya, for his report on this session. Over to you, Sankhya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Tanmay. And this is the last segment of the meeting, which is the general evaluation. So we will be giving evaluation of the entire meeting, what went well, what could have been improved on. Now, as I told you that I have a list of or a team of 3 musketeers. So with that, let me call upon my first musketeer, the timer of the day, Toastmaster Velavan, to please present your report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shankya. I'm just going to share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
So for table topics, TM Sridhar took 1 minute 30 seconds, TM Pasha took 3 minute 20 seconds, TM Madhav was 1.50 seconds, TM Jacob was 1.50 seconds, Maninder was 2 minute and 50 seconds, TM Kahera was 1 minute 50 seconds, TM Venkatesh took 1 minute 30 seconds, TM Varun took 1 minute 50 seconds, and TM Chetna was 1 minute 52 seconds. Thank you, Toastmaster. Over to you, Toastmaster Shankya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Velavan. And now may I request the counter, Toastmaster Venkatesh, to please present your report.
My counter report are as follows. I'm using my mobile, so listen carefully. Starting from the Maninder scene, he has used 2 times so and more than 5 times and Toastmaster Dr. Pasa, he has used 3 times so, 5 times more than 5 times and 3 times I. And Toastmaster Kaira, she has used 2 times so, 1 times and Toastmaster Velvan, he has used 2 times and Toastmaster Lalita, she has used 2 times and Toastmaster Jacob Matthew, he has used 3 times and Toastmaster Madhav, he has used 3 times Toastmaster Tanmay, he has used 2 times and Toastmaster Chetna, she has used 2 times so, 2 times and General Evaluator Sankhya, Toastmaster Sankhya, he has used 2 times over to you, Toastmaster Sankhya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Venkatesh. And my last musketeer for the day, the grammarian. Let me invite Toastmaster Ashish.
Thank you, General Evaluator Sankhya. So the word of the day is used by three persons, Sankhya, Toastmaster Sankhya, Matthew, and Maninder. And I noted down the good uses is one person's trash can be someone's treasure. And this is not related to our Toastmaster meeting, but in general, like when we are saying something or greeting someone, let's be aware of that timing and situation. So I think one session started after 12 o'clock, but there we are referring good morning instead of good afternoon. And another area where we can improve, like if I got the money, it should be if I have the money. And when we're talking about the past, it is better to use past sentences only. For example, one of the speaker told like, my friends have failed their exams. It's been like they are failing from their childhood till now. It should have been told like, my friends failed in their exam. That's all from my side. Thank you, and over to you, G.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Ashish. And now let me come out with the the general evaluation report for today's meeting. So the meeting started around 11 or 10, and it's opened by Toastmaster Madhav. Toastmaster Madhav, this is your first time as a Sergeant at Arms since you recently joined the Toastmaster, and kudos to you for taking up the role very promptly. I see you have given up all the rules, come up with all the rules which is required. You are very calm and quiet as well, considering this is your first. So that's awesome. So let's give a round of applause for our Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Madhav. And next, the baton was passed on to our presiding officer, who also put up multiple hats as a presiding officer and a Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Tanmay. Toastmaster Tanmay, you come up with an amazing way of starting the meeting. You have a very energetic way, so that gives a lot of boost to the entire meeting. You spoke about, as a Timod, you spoke about the treasures of our lives, which is the theme. And what was more engaging was you started asking questions. Now that gives a positive thing because many guests who are coming for the first time might feel hesitant, or there are many Toastmasters as well, who might feel hesitant. But when you start asking questions, which is very relatable, especially, that will cut the ice, and that will. So that's something which was really good. In terms of a little bit of improvement, because I see there are a couple of guests who are coming for the first time in the meeting, they may not know about what the relevance of Toastmaster is. Of course, it's a public platform, they know, but a little bit of history, if you could have added, that would have been great, along with the history of the club, because Speakers and Toastmaster being in the Toastmaster fraternity for almost 10 years. So that will give a lot of confidence as well. But apart from that, let's give a round of applause for our Toastmaster of the day and the presiding officer, Toastmaster. And we'll come to Sridhar's session, but before, let me also take a quick evaluation on the on our lovely table topic by Toastmaster Lalita. Toastmaster Lalita is very, very engaging, and I know to come up with a topic which is really interesting as well. That gives a lot of thought in the back end when you are preparing the topics. That was really nice when you come up with a lot of interesting topic, because I see many people were raising their hands and everyone was almost willing to speak on that. So that's a wonderful thing. In terms of the improvement a little bit, one is since Toastmaster Velavan as a timer has already given the timing of the table topic long back, I mean before the starting of the session, but it would have been also been good if you could have repeat the timing as well, because many many are guests and they may not be aware of the timing. And also to specify that yes, everyone has to keep an eye on the timer so that nobody misses out the time. That's one thing which could have been improved. And second thing, although your communication was clear, but it would be better if you can also paste the topic in the chat window. That will also be, it will be useful for the speaker to grasp on the content part. But apart from that, great job done. Let's give a round of applause for Toastmaster Lalita. And last but not the least, Toastmaster Sridhar. Toastmaster Sridhar, First of all, thankful, a heart full of thanks for taking your valuable time and to giving us such a beautiful, beautiful topic. Um, as the contest season is coming up, it's everybody is really anxious that how am I going to speak or what am I going to speak, and how am I going to connect with the audience, whether I'll be able to come first or not. But in Toastmaster, it's all about practice, but the tools or the techniques which one need to know as we grow ahead is all about practice. But these tools and techniques which you discussed today are really, really helpful. And I have been in the Toastmaster fraternity for almost 5 years now, but still I keep on learning each and every day. And today is, I would proudly say that it's one of the key learnings which I had, and thanks to you. When you started off with the treasure of our lives, I mean, some of the interesting thing which really captures my eye was at the beginning. When you started about a kind of a story, which you really like, that how should I be preparing for TT or not? So that's some of the key things which everybody thinks, that because table topic, because it's something which is impromptu. Do I really need to go ahead with that? So that is something which really, and the beautiful story about the army and the cockroach, that also encapsulates my attention. But just a small thing, maybe, in terms of when the examples were coming up, in the instead of the writing down everything, if there has been some images, some cartoon characters of a cockroach, or or a girlfriend getting afraid, or maybe someone is getting ready for a cockroach because he knows, that could have been put into a cartoon image, I would have seen. I just thought that it could have been much more engaging, because there are a lot of slides are there. And but the tremendous way on which you calculate that, how is the judging criteria will be helpful in that was really good. And I'm sure everybody will agree that that is something which we are all looking forward. That was really nice. And also in terms of the evaluation, the beautiful humor which you punches, because you all know about your humor king, and we can see that those things comes up in your presentation as well. The 30-90-30, don't say that it's about the pig that you are coming. So that was the humor part which everyone instantly get. And then we go, okay, that's not only about the cheers part, but we should also cheer about the introduction, evaluation, and the summary. So that's what we come up with. And apart from that, it was a really, really marvelous session, and I'm really glad and very much proud that you are being part of the speakers 10 in giving it this entire session. So thanks to you, and let's give a round of applause for Toastmasters Sridhar. Amazing, amazing session. And with that, let me pass on the baton to our presiding officer of the day, Toastmaster Tanmay.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sankhya, for the general evaluation on the entire proceedings of today's meeting. I would like to thank our Toastmaster, our guest speaker, Toastmaster Sridhar, for taking out his time and communicating to us that he was not available on the planned date, and rearranging it today, because this has been a wonderful session. We have been looking forward to hearing you for a long time, and this is everything what we wanted. It has been a great help for us with the contest season coming up, and with our own club contest happening in the next meeting on 5th of March. So yes, that is one thing. On that note, I have an announcement for the club members. If you have not yet nominated, please go ahead and drop in your names to our VP Education Toastmaster Sonal. You can nominate for ISC, for which the eligibility criteria is to have level 2 in any of the pathways. You can also nominate for evaluation and table topic contest, for which the eligibility criteria is to be a good standing member of speakers and Toastmasters. And for the guests who are joining us from different Toastmaster clubs, and guests who are not yet part of Toastmasters, you are also welcome to be a part of the next meeting, the contest, the club contest speakers then, and to witness our different speakers competing against each other, because I believe it would be a learning experience of its own. No matter how much you prep, a battle itself has a different type of experience. So please come and witness that. I would like to thank all the role takers who have taken their valuable time, all the guests, all the other Toastmasters for attending today's meeting. And with this, I would like to call upon the closure of today's meeting number 313 with the bang of this gavel. Thank you, everyone.